If there's only one thing I know about women, it'll be that all of them have something towards flowers. That's why the clever man knows that no matter how big his mistake is, he can fix it all with a nice bouquet of flowers. Anyways, let me tell you about Nicole, the prettiest girl I've ever seen. The first time I saw her, my heartbeat started racing. I knew that she is the one whom I want to be with for the rest of my life. She was a student at the university and I was a professor at the same university. And our law here is clear and explicit, in which it prohibits any relationship of any kind between any professor and a student. And since she is not one of my students, and our roads rarely intersect, I had to find a way to get to know her, so I thought a lot. And I found that there's nothing better than a clear and honest behavior, so I waited for the right time and decided to go and get to know her like any respectable man. But her looks were ridiculous, the way that she rejected me and hearing her friends calling me names I do not want to remember. Anyways, that was harsh and sort of unforgivable, but you know where the biggest problem was. It was in my heart. I could not distance her from my mind or nullify her attachment to my heart even after what she did to me, so I had to find another way to make her fall in love with me. After a little thought, I encountered a genius idea, and I will go on with it. I'll update you once it's finished. 2 days have passed now. She finally got up, but unfortunately she found herself tied in a big chair with a thick rope and iron chains. She tried to scream, but the cloth that was wrapped in her mouth prevented her from doing so. She failed to untie herself. She was completely paralyzed. The fear was cured in her eyes. Her body was trembling. I decided to intervene. I came out of the shadows, and when she saw me, her eyes widened. Her fear increased. I smiled while untying her in order to make her calm down a little bit. Once her legs and hands were free, she pushed me on the ground and ran towards the basement stairs and tried to open the door. I laughed. She was stupid. Did she think that I'll miss a detail like that? I came up the stairs after her. While feeling extremely angry, I pulled her hair and threw her on the stairs, watched her with her body rolling. I slowly went down the stairs again and started to hit her with my leg. I heard her screaming. I saw her blood coming down from her mouth. And even though that was difficult for me to watch her suffer, I still had to teach her a lesson so that she don't resist or reject me ever again. I pulled her hair and dragged her across ground of the basement. I laid her on the chair once again and tied her more aggressively than the first time and told her angrily, "You'll stay like this for 2 days, without food or water. And the duration will increase each time you will not obey my orders." But I have a good heart, as you know, so that the next day she woke up to find herself untied. And in front of her I kept a small table with some fresh food and a bouquet of white roses in the shape of a heart. She ate like crazy. She was very hungry indeed. I smiled when she saw the roses and promised her that if she was polite, I would bring her a bed here so that she could sleep comfortably, and would even bring her a small oven so that she could cook for me and for herself to eat. And because I am an honest man, and I never break my words, after 2 days, she was polite and listened to my orders, so I fulfilled my promise to her and brought her a bed to sleep on. The next day I woke up to the sound of the basement door opening. Apparently I forgot to lock it properly. But before she opened the door of the house, I was right behind her. I hit her with a baseball bat on the head, and when she fell on the ground, I pulled her hair on the floor and threw her from the stairs of the basement. This bitch is not appreciating anything I do for her. This time when she got up, she was tied from her neck to a collar and sleeping in the house of the dog. I left her like that for 2 days. If she got out of the doghouse, I extremely hit her. I didn't serve her any food except old nasty dry food and dirty water. But I have a good heart. So after 2 days, I brought her a beautiful bouquet of yellow roses for her goodness. And for the second time I told her, as long as you listen to my orders and be polite, you will live a comfortable life with me. Apparently, she learned her lesson, because when I came back from work and met her, she prepared something for me to eat with a beautiful smile. She was wearing a nice dress from the ones I bought for her. I changed my clothes quickly and went down the basement. The atmosphere was romantic and everything was sweet. At that time I felt that I did the right thing. My heartbeats were racing while I was looking into her pretty eyes. I tried to feed her from my plate, but I noticed that she didn't want to. She did not want to even touch any food from my plate. That was strange. And I was about to let this go and just keep on eating. But my brain was not quite. Her refusal raised my doubts. I stood from my chair and I walked towards her. The fear that was in her eyes made me feel that I was stronger. I planted a fork in her neck as I said, "You really think that I don't know that you went upstairs after opening the door of the basement while I was not home? You seriously think that I didn't count my sleeping pills that were behind the bathroom mirror?" She tried to speak, but I pushed the fork ever further inside her neck, saying, "I will tell you what happened. You went out and tried to open the door of the house, but unfortunately you found that the doors and windows are all sealed and closed. You could have tried to scream, but the house here has no neighbors around. You decided to look around trying to find knives or whatever you can use to stand against me with it, but all the kitchen drawers are locked up with large padlocks. You finally found the sleeping pills which I was using on you in order to make you faint, and then you decided to act all romantic as if you ever loved me. Right?" Before she responded, I pulled the fork out and stabbed her again in the neck, saying, "Your plan was that I would eat and sleep, and you would turn on the keys and run away. Like if I was a naive man and will not have thought of all of this." I threw her on the ground and came out of the basement, my whole body trembling with anger. I sat there full of hate towards her while the pool of blood increased around her body. 3 days have passed. I know that you are upset with me, but you need to know if that you are the reason for all this. Why did you do that, Nicole? Why do you keep denying our love? I know that you will not know how to respond to me, but I am really upset with you. I finished my last words while placing a red rose bouquet on the grave that I had dug for her in the garden of my house. As I told you, there's no woman out there that don't like roses, and the clever man knows that no matter how big his mistake is, a flower bouquet can make her fall back for him again. I smiled and said, "I hope you are not upset with me any longer. I have to say goodbye now as I'm late on my dinner with my new girlfriend. She's waiting for me in the basement. Wish me luck. I hope this time is better than the past 3 failed attempts." Hey guys, thanks for listening. This is Liam. That was all for today's episode. What do you think about it? Let me know in the comments and don't forget to subscribe for more daily horror stories. Till next time.